So our guest today is Marilou Barsam. Marilou is a 25-year resident of Bedford. In 2020, she was recognized by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as an unsung heroine for dedication in facilitating inclusion and celebrating diversity in Bedford as co-founder of Bedford Embraces Diversity. With her business marketing experience and interest in social and environmental justice issues, she is now equally involved as a board member of Bedford's COA and Mothers Out Front. Welcome, Marilou.
Thank you, Dawn. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Paul and Dawn, for inviting me. Some of you may recall I presented with our other co-founder, BED, Valerie Rishanen, I think it was about 5 years ago. And at that time, nobody really knew about Bedford Embraces Diversity. So I gave you more of a formal presentation to bring you up to speed. For a number of reasons, I decided today that I didn't want to go that route. I have some notes and some thoughts I'd like to share with you, and I'm hoping we can have a little discussion around them as well, either while I'm talking or when I'm done. So thanks for the quick bio there, Dawn. I'd like to add on a personal level that I am the daughter of immigrant grandparents who raised me for various reasons. They were Armenian refugees who had to leave their native homeland of Turkey with their parents, fleeing the Turkish massacre. And they ended up in Alexandria, Egypt, where they were basically waiting to come to the United States as official refugees. It took 21 years. And then they finally came over with my mother and my uncle. I was born in this country, but I was raised by my grandparents. And as a result, I grew up in a house where English was, for my grandparents, a third language. For my mother, it was a sixth language. And I also grew up with a very keen sense of what it was like for them to have to leave their homeland, see a lot of their relatives killed and persecuted. And I think because of that, that has always stuck with me on a very personal level. Something else also happened related to this. When they started introducing in our history classes in high school the subject of Adolf Hitler and the Holocaust, I became obsessed with that and secretly vowed that if there was any way that I could basically enact revenge on that kind of discrimination and hate, I would find a way in my life. So as you can see, I take what I do very personally, as well as philosophically. So it was no wonder when several years ago, there were anti-Semitic events here in our school district, as well as in the community. And John Sills, former superintendent, held town meetings to rally folks around taking a stand against this. He called for the community to step up because he could only take care of the school side of it. So I was one of two people to do that. And in doing so, co-founded Bedford Embraces Diversity. When we put our group together, we decided that we didn't just want to focus on anti-hate issues, although things have evolved since then, and I'll share that with you in a moment. What we wanted to do is looking at the complexion of Bedford, and it was probably less than, but as you probably recognize, you know, it's a community of 14,000, and statistically 25% of our population is culturally diverse. So we decided we wanted to kick off what we meant to the community with a multicultural festival and actually celebrate this wonderful diversity that we have here in Bedford. Did any of you attend any of our multicultural festivals? Christine? Okay, so you're familiar. So for the rest of you, the first three we held in the high school, and we averaged between 500 and 600 people who came. We got a great reaction to it. We identified 6 to 7 cultural groups who were so excited about us doing this that they decided they wanted to participate. So they cooked their own native food. Some of them had formal dance troupes. They performed for us. We had these tables we called family history tables, where families could share their ethnic backgrounds or religions with everybody there. And so it was a great success, and we had a lot of fun. And that went on for 5 years. Then, related to current events, good and bad, we decided that we wanted to start reflecting more of what was happening in our country and in the world. So, as you all know, there were a lot of racist acts that were occurring going back 3-4 years up to the present. So what we started doing is focusing on racism in this country and even in our community. And that may surprise you to hear that, it may not, I don't know. But we did everything from hiring an outfit called Ideas and holding a training for both the teachers and anyone from the community that wanted to attend. And basically, you know, trying to sensitize both teachers and community members to issues that are important to people of different color or backgrounds. We participated in Black Lives Matter rallies and through support behind that. And then probably most visibly for the last, I think it's 6 years now, every Martin Luther King Day, we have a commemorative event. We used to have them live. Unfortunately, the last 2 years, because of COVID, we switched to Zoom. And in those events, we not only celebrate Martin Luther King for the great man he was, but we also try to focus what's happening right here in Bedford that we can address. And so our attention has turned to putting together panels and moderating them. And typically what we do is we bring together either graduates of the METCO program from the Bedford School District or current students who are in METCO. And we, through moderated panel discussion, ask them to be honest with the community and with the school as to what is working, looking at it from their perspective as African Americans, or what is not working. And we've had some very candid discussions. Our most recent one, we did a couple of things. We brought in a famous Black playwright, poet, novelist, rapper. His name is Reggie Gibson. And were you able to get the link, Paula? Can we play that?
Yeah.
And what I want you to hear just a little bit of this, and then I'll ask you to stop because it's too long.
There have always been those who refuse to play the oblivious, the one that ignores. Yes, there have always been those who would rewrite themselves as new characters, become she who sees and rises up, he who voices the better angels of our nature, they that demand more of our body politic, demand that we bend it toward a more perfect union by fighting the viruses of our worst isms, our sexism, racism, ageism, colorism, culturalism, reductionism, fascism. Those who demand that our nation embraces its better isms, egalitarianism, altruism, volunteerism, humanism, and demand we create and coin other better isms, like you have the right to remain Black and unkilled ism. You have the right to not be sexually assaulted and harassed ism. You have the right to exist and to thrive ism. You have the right to have your voice heard ism. You have the right to have your vote count ism. You have the right to be addressed and treated with dignity and respect ism. I will stop turning my back on your pain ism. I will stand up for the civil and human rights of another ism. Yes. We have always had and will always need those who work little by little to heal this too wounded nation with a democratized form of love.
So I think his last words there, I mean, you can see how moving he was. We will all work little by little. And that brings me to what I want to discuss with you now, which is our future focus, which is building partnerships with groups like yours throughout the Bedford community so that we can continue the work we do and hopefully throw the spotlight on the issues that matter the most to us. And for those, I think you're probably aware of it, but you very nicely agreed to be co-sponsors of our last MLK event. We organized, with Paula and Don's help, a service project. Unfortunately, we did this through the COA. And what we did is the COA put out a sign-up list for anyone needing to have small errands done around their home. And then the Rotary, with Paula's help, organized people from your organization that agreed to help with those errands. But what was it, Paula? I think we only got 2 signups.
One.
And tell everybody who fulfilled the request.
Who was it?
It was you and your
Oh,
husband.
no, who did it? Oh, yeah, it was me. But I mean, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so someone asked for a light bulb to be changed, and Paula and her husband fulfilled that request. But I think, yeah, I think what's significant here is that we teamed up together to try to bring some service to the community, and the COA was delighted, and they're hoping that we'll either do that anytime, because the director, Allison, said to me, I know a lot of them need help around the house, but I think they're being shy about asking, or it's COVID, or both. So she thinks in the future we'd have more success with that program. So that's just an example. And also, just to fill you in, we're working with the Violence Prevention Coalition of Bedford. We're working with the COA on LGBTQ issues. We're going to be having a cafe and a movie evening. This is important to me personally because I'm gay. So I am fully behind this. And what we're also doing is we are reviving. Are any of you familiar with the Faces of Bedford project that occurred several years ago? Yes, Christine has her hands up. Paul is nodding. So with Faces of Bedford, what the Youth and Family Services Organization did is they went around town and they took beautiful photographs of diverse families, ethnically, religiously. Oh, that's great. What does that show? I can't see it totally.
Oh,
Christine.
I think that's it. Must be a family photo, is it, Christine?
That's us at the Faces of Bedford project. So Jan Van Steenwyk took our photograph, and we were part of that collection that was captured as part of Faces of Bedford.
That's great. And
Yeah.
right now that those photographs are being displayed in the showcase of Bedford High School. Our board members and myself went over there to look at them because we are going to invite some people back to bring everyone up to date as to how their lives have been going for the last decade. And we are also going to add some new participants. But one of the things we're thinking of doing, it would be a great opportunity for the Rotary if you want to support our efforts here, is after we basically gather people who want to volunteer to be a part of this, we're going to have virtual Zoom events and interview them online. We're going to take their photographs again and create another display. And then what we're hoping is at the end of the year, maybe around the holidays, we're going to have a live event. And we're going to showcase all of the families and all of the work and all the people who agree to participate in this to kind of show off the diversity here in town. So that's what's going on with us. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about challenges that we continue to face. So I'm going to be very frank here. And I think I have the right to say this, being co-founder of this organization. As much as we, the board, enjoy our work and have made wonderful relationships with a lot of people in town, we are incredibly disappointed in the participation in our virtual Zoom events, or even our MLK events did pretty well. We would usually get a good 100 people who would come to those at the church, the Congregational Church. But our Zoom events of late, so I'll give you an example. For Black History Month, we had a wonderful speaker. Her name is Priscilla Douglas, and her family was the first Black family that resided in the town of Bedford. They owned a huge pig farm over on Crosby Ave. And she went on to become a very, very successful politician and executive. And she is a motivational speaker. She goes around the world and basically preps major corporations and their executive teams. But anyway, we had her as a speaker and we only got 30 people to come hear her. And we promoted it widely. So one of the things I had mentioned to Ralph Hammond, who, by the way, has joined us. He is now a liaison to our board representing all of you folks. And we are so happy to have Ralph. He's a wealth of information and he's great with ideas. But one of the things I mentioned to Ralph, what we really need first order of business is asking the Rotary to help us as a partner when we take the time and money to run these events and put the effort in them. If you would support us by helping to promote the event throughout your organization, through, get more of your boards to attend, and help us get the community more involved, because it becomes discouraging when you get an audience of 30 and you're focused on Black History Month, you're focused on someone very connected to Bedford here locally, and we want to change that. So we're going to be optimistic about it, but that's where we are right now. And I'll stop talking, and if anybody wants to ask me a question or you want to talk through anything I brought up, please do so.